Hi everyone. So today I'll be talking about the new kid on the block in AI, DeepSeek, and how countries like China have faced challenges from the West and the race for emerging AI technologies. First off, what is DeepSeek? Hangzhou DeepSeek Artificial Intelligence Basic Technology Research Company Limited is a Chinese artificial intelligence company that develops large language models. It was founded in July 2023 by Liang Wenfeng, a co-founder of Highflyer. The company recently launched a chatbot alongside its DeepSeek R1 model in January 2025. DeepSeek R1 model delivers responses comparable to other leading large language models such as OpenAI's GPT-4 and Anthropic's Cloud. What's even more impressive is its cost efficiency. According to the company, they spent less than $6 million in training their Victory model. That's a fraction of the $100 million that OpenAI reportedly spent on GPT-4 in 2023. Not only is DeepSeek more cost effective, but it also uses significantly less computing power. The company claims to have used approximately 1/10 of the computing power that was required for Meta's comparable model Llama 3.1 and achieved this in less time, I think in less than 2 months or so. Now, before going into more details, I would like to bring you all back to the background of the West's dominance in AI and what made companies like DeepSeek to sort for other means to achieve AI large language model that would be so sophisticated as this. So now, whenever there is a breakthrough in AI, the United States has consistently sought to maintain its dominance. To this end, the United States imposed export restrictions on companies like NVIDIA, which supplied GPUs that are critical for AI development. Now, as we all know, building large language models require immense computing power, and GPUs are far more efficient than CPUs for this purpose. These restrictions significantly impacted countries like China, limiting their access to advanced hardware. Now, the US government justified these measures by claiming that advanced chips could be used for China's military and technological advancements. What an excuse! As a result, Chinese companies were forced to rely on less advanced chips or develop their own alternatives. And many believed the US had secured its position as the king in the AI kingdom. And they also claimed that China was years behind in AI development. However, companies like DeepSeek began experimenting with innovative ways to maximize their limited resources and develop AI models that could compete with Western counterparts. Now, let's talk a bit about DeepSeek's unique approach. Like, what makes them so special amongst others? Now, while other AI companies focus on acquiring more computing power and data, DeepSeek took a different path. Reasoning. I've often said this, okay? Most AI models possess vast amounts of knowledge, but often they struggle with its practical application. DeepSeek addressed this by focusing on improving reasoning capabilities. According to a research paper released alongside the DeepSeek's R1 repository, the company utilized multi-stage learning, cold start data, and reinforcement learning. Don't worry, I'll explain most of what all these terms means in a bit. They experimented with various methods across multiple versions of their LLM before settling on the approach used in the DeepSeek R1. Now, here's a breakdown of their methodology, okay? Just stay with me. Reinforcement learning over supervised fine-tuning. Don't worry, I'm gonna explain. Just take a moment. Traditional AI models rely heavily on large amounts of supervised data to improve performance. Wow. DeepSeek, however, demonstrated that reasoning capabilities could be significantly enhanced through large-scale reinforcement learning, even without supervised fine-tuning. Don't worry, I'm gonna explain. In this approach, the LLM undergoes self-evolution, more like how humans grow and self-evolve and learn new concepts, learn basic concepts, and from there are able to build their own complex concepts. All these things are just being achieved just through pure reinforcement learning process. The reinforcement learning algorithm that they use, the most dominant one they use, is the group relative policy optimization. I mean, you might not really want to bother unless you're a machine learning engineer. And this significantly reduces training costs. Now, to those big terms that I mentioned initially, reinforcement learning. In machine learning, reinforcement learning is a type of machine learning where an agent learns to make decisions by performing actions in an environment to maximize cumulative rewards. Now, the agent just learns through trial and error, and it's gonna receive feedback. It always receives feedback in the forms of rewards or penalties. Now, supervised fine-tuning, on the other hand, is a process whereby a pre-trained model is further trained on smaller task-specific data sets with labeled examples to adapt to a specific task. Now, regarding the reinforcement learning that DeepSeek utilized, they also added a rule-based reward system. Now, this rule-based reward system was probably inspired by behavioral psychology. Like, you know how when a kid behaves well, you give them treats for behaving well, and when they don't behave well, you like call them out or something like that. Or the same way you train your dog to get used to behaving well. So it's something similar, but now I just want to hint out something that they really use. There were two types of rewards that they integrated in their training algorithm. They used accuracy reward. Like, this accuracy reward, it just ensures that the response is correct. Like, for instance, for math problems with deterministic results, the model must provide the final answer in a specified format. Now, another type of reward that they integrated is the format reward. Now, this requires the model to enclose its reasoning process within think tags. All right. Another thing that's fascinating about DeepSeek is during training, the model was required to first produce a reasoning process followed by the final answer. Unlike what we see with other traditional models, in which the model just brings up some chunks of text. You know what I do call most of all these large language models? They are just like a big form of autocomplete systems that just tries to generate something and tries to complete them, But this DeepSeek's approach is quite unique because it gives the model some sort of will I say a bit of consciousness? You see a bit of that while I go on, okay? Now, there's also something they said in their paper. They expressed that this was like their aha moment. Like, it was like, wow, the eureka moment of DeepSeek's development. Now, they discovered that there was some sort of autonomous learning and reflection. So they discovered that the model could learn and generalize effectively through just reinforcement learning alone. Now, this meant that the model could improve its reasoning capabilities autonomously, revisiting and reevaluating its previous steps and exploring alternative approaches to problem solving. Like, that's much like how humans reflect on their actions. Like, this is mind blowing. In one instance, a variant of the DeepSeek model learned to allocate more thinking time to complex problems by reevaluating its initial approach. And this demonstrated how reinforcement learning could just lead to some unexpected, sophisticated outcomes. This is mind-boggling, okay? Now, there were some challenges, okay, that they encountered while training their model, and such challenges were things like language mixing, okay, and also poor readability. And their earlier variants, they noticed this. And now to address these issues, they collected a small amount of long chain of thought data and used that as cold start data to fine-tune the base model. And after doing that, they commenced reinforcement learning. They also introduced a language consistency reward during training to improve readability and integrate advanced response generation techniques. And also they trained the model to capture human preferences in complex scenarios, ensuring responses were helpful, relevant, and harmless. When DeepSeek launched, there are lots of critics, saying so many things about their claims of distillation and stuff like that. Now, I just want you to understand that making claims that DeepSeek distilled other models is correct, right? But that's not really the main focus of their research. All right. So distillation, for those of you that don't know, distillation is a technique where knowledge is from a larger, more complex model, like the teacher model, is transferred to a smaller model, and that's the student model. DeepSeek really experimented, they really experimented with open source models like Qwen and Llama, but they really emphasized that advancing beyond the boundaries of intelligence requires more powerful base models and large-scale reinforcement learning. Distillation could help some of these large language models to be much more intelligent, but you cannot compare that with the kind of results you get from having a very powerful base model that has gone through a large-scale reinforcement learning. DeepSeek demonstrated that model performance could be enhanced through reinforcement learning on a base model, fine-tuned with thousands of long chain of thought examples. Now, my take on all this is that, I'm really fascinated by what the DeepSeek team achieved. Despite the challenges they face, their success really proves that innovation and determination can overcome even the most daunting obstacles. Like, to the critics, I'll just advise, take a closer look at DeepSeek's contributions. Like, they've made significant strides in making sophisticated AI models more accessible and affordable. Like, now, 1 million tokens is going for like less than $1. Is that not a win for everyone? So the key lessons I could take from most of these things is that you shouldn't take the public for granted. Like, I'm referring to a very well-known popular AI company that were once public and now privatized. After taking all the generous contribution from the public, you just, all of a sudden made the proprietary software closed source and private, and also I believe no one should really get comfortable at the top. There's always need for a continuous, improvement, and even when you're leading, like, you need to keep on improving. It's very essential. And also be honest and transparent in your doings, in everything you do, because integrity really builds trust and credibility. Like, DeepSeek is on a very good stance right now because they're being honest with everything they did. All the models they experimented with, they shared the findings and the test results from everything, and also, most importantly, share knowledge, share resources. Like, hoarding resources stifles progress. Collaboration drives innovation. Why do we need to hoard some resources and restrict them from being accessed by some other persons just because we want to stay ahead? Is it really fair to restrict access to critical technologies like the advanced GPUs? Like, was it really necessary? While companies in China like BYD, they produce high quality batteries and they export them globally. The West restrictions on AI hardware seem more like an attempt to stifle competition than a genuine security concern. DeepSeek's story is a testament to the power of resourcefulness. Instead of burning billions on computing power, they focused on optimizing what they already had. As the saying goes, now why reinvent the wheel when it already exists? So everything in technology builds on pre-existing standards dating back to pioneers like Alan Turing. No one can fully claim full ownership of a technology that relies on foundational work of that were developed by others. DeepSeek's approach, using only what's necessary to solve problems, proves that you, my friend, can achieve more with less. While competitors like OpenAI focus on scale, DeepSeek prioritize efficiency and innovation. So now, tell me what do you think about all this thing, like everything surrounding the DeepSeek and AI controversy? What are your thoughts? Everything pertaining DeepSeek and the AI community. I would like to hear your thoughts on this. Like I always say, a word is enough for the wise. See you in the next one. Bye.